Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And one issue that I've followed for years has been this problem of graffiti here in the New Orleans area, and a gentleman who really has been at the forefront of trying to clean up some of this mess. Fred Radke is joining us. He's with Operation Clean Sweep. And Fred, welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate being here.
First, tell our viewers who might not be aware, your program's been around for how long?
We've been around for 12 and a half years. If you had a graffiti problem prior to us getting involved, you would call City Hall up. They didn't have a department, so they referred you to the police department. They, in turn, would have to send a unit out, fill out a report. Bottom line is nothing would ever get done because they have to catch them in the act, and the graffiti stayed on. Most importantly, though, it took manpower away from priority crimes to go around circles to do nothing. Since that time, and I just want to say that we saved the police department over 4,000 phone calls and took out over 15,000 graffiti tags.
So you've been the go-to person for graffiti, and are you still operating in that same manner?
Absolutely.
Okay, just in the city of New Orleans or the whole metro area?
We've been asked to get involved in some of the other parishes, but right now the concentration is New Orleans.
Now, have you had any run-ins with some property owners who have been, let's just say, not exactly fans of what you've been doing? I mean,
no. Again, I'd be more than happy to explain. We, post-Katrina, have been dealing, first of all, with over 20,000 abandoned properties. And in doing so, pre-Katrina, we had over 40 neighborhood associations that we worked with and over 100 volunteers. Volunteers make mistakes. I'll be the first one to take responsibility of any kind of volunteer making a mistake, or if I make a mistake, I'll be the first one to stand up and say I made a mistake. And certainly there have been mistakes over the years, and we corrected them. But now, post-Katrina, we have a situation where we have a form now that a property owner has to sign before we go on their property. It gives us permission to take out graffiti, and we can do it for 1 year. That way there we don't have to come back all the time and ask to do that.
So the courts haven't ruled that you can't operate?
The only thing pertaining to the courts was a situation that we were on somebody's property. They called police, and the bottom line very simply is that we got a suspended no trespassing.
Okay, so you're still up and operating right now?
We've been operating and working with law enforcement for the last year and a half.
Now, is this an indication, all this graffiti, and we're going to show our viewers some pictures, of a gang problem here in the New Orleans area, or is it just graffiti artists trying to spread their art in their view?
Well, let me tell you, graffiti has tripled in the last year. And the situation is that because you have not just a one-dimensional type of graffiti, you have over a dozen formats of graffiti ranging from satanic occult to gang-related to what we call the usual suspects out there that continuously go out there and do graffiti on a daily basis. You have other situations out there, anarchists that are very, shall I say, aggressive in doing graffiti out there just to create a lot of chaos that's happening in the city as well.
So you've got satanic worshipers, you've got anarchists, you've got your run-of-the-mill thugs and run-of-the-mill gang members, and all that's contributing for tripling of this issue?
Well, I think the real key here is that because of, and again, these are certain circumstances, and I'll put it to you this way. Pre-Katrina, you had a quality of life officer that spent 5 days a week in his particular district. And the bottom line, very simply, is if you had a problem, you contact your quality of life officer. Post-Katrina, you're dealing with a situation where the quality of life officer only spends 2 days a week in his own district, and then he goes out to other 3 days spending in somebody else's district. By the time he gets back to his district, he's so backed up, it's very difficult to catch up with all that. I'm hoping and seeing with the new police chief and as well as the new mayor that they get the necessary resources to where they can spend more time doing situations.
Now, is one of these anarchist groups, this Iron Rail book collaborative?
I can't go into something like that.
Because I just discovered this group that, from what I understand, is an anarchist group that we're involved.
I've been aware of them for 6 years.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just learning about them.
Yes.
And there's ties to a protest that was held outside of Brennan's where some folks were beaten up pretty badly, and we don't know if there was a connection to them, but they certainly were involved in a pretty nasty protest.
I can relate to you in situations, say for example, there's an anarchist actual website, and with that website you have a situation where if somebody does damage in the city, and I'll just use this as an example, they used to do acid on windows in the city, and might create maybe about $50,000 worth of damage, whether it was Canal Street where they had selling furs in the window and they threw acid on the windows, this kind of situation. But if you go to the website explains to you in 25 other cities out there that they did this kind of vandalism, and it totals millions of dollars, and it's an actual underground force.
We're going to show our viewers some of these pictures that you brought, Fred, and tell us what this one is, if you could.
Well, actually, this is basically Lowe's Theater on Canal Street. That graffiti's been there for over 2 years. And if you take notice, they have some other selective actions where one says Top Mob on it. But you have a situation where this graffiti, if it's left up there for periods of time, creates, and as Mayor-elect Landrieu said, the perception of crime is hard to promote New Orleans tourists, its tourist program in the city, because you have this perception out there constantly.
What is Top Mob?
Again, Top Mob is just a part of a group of people that do graffiti out there. Individual that's been doing this for 10 years and has done over $500,000 worth of damage in the city of New Orleans.
All right, let's show viewers this, and this is going to be an interesting sort of success story. Now, this is at Audubon. Where was this? At Audubon Park?
This is out at the Fly at the Audubon Park. Again, we try to work with Audubon Park and some of the other areas like City Park to maintain the elimination of graffiti.
All right, and that was before, and then we have an after shot, which is pretty amazing here. So you guys were pretty successful, and so you have some products that can really get rid of this stuff completely.
Well, the key factor is this. Number one, I deal directly with the same folks that take out graffiti up in New York City. These products here are absolutely fantastic. You really can't get them around this particular area. The other thing is that not only does it take off graffiti on stop signs, but we go out there and also work with neighborhood associations to where we actually match up the paint on the buildings as well.
Let me show one more, and this is horrible because this is where I used to take my kids a lot. Storyland, and this is really nasty that they would even put graffiti on that. And that was before, and then we've got after. You guys were able to completely clean it off, which is amazing.
It's like Humpty Dumpty, we put them back together again. You know?
So you used to use a lot of this gray paint where you would cover it up, and you'd still do that in some places?
Absolutely. The key factor is we have always offered a free service to the community out there. If it becomes a restoration, that's another story. But again, when you're doing in circumstances like these neighborhoods that are terrorized with crime, a lot of these people can't afford anything, let alone take out the graffiti.
So we've got about a minute left. So what you're saying is that this problem is actually getting worse.
Yes, it is. But here's the good news. The good news is this. We're not like New York City with 85,000 gang members or LA with 100,000 gang members. What we have here is strictly economics. We can beat graffiti at its own game economically by continuously maintaining it, and as we've done for the last 10 years, take it out within 7 days after you call us on the graffiti hotline, which is 486-9694.
All right, 486-9694 for 486-9694 for people that have problems. They can call you and you'll come out there with your team, huh?
Absolutely. And the other thing is our website is www.operationcleansweepnola.com, and you can see everything that we've done over the last 10 to 12 years.
Fred Radke, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
You know, it's amazing to me the problem that we have, and I'm glad that there's somebody out there doing something about it.